So this is a video talking about how to use this system to pull parts into Epicor using Cadlink. So I've opened up here a part which this one actually doesn't have a configuration at the top level, but you'll see it does have two configured parts in it. I have my system set that it won't pull in this string, it'll pull in the configured item. And one more note of concern is that the wear edge at the bottom, uh, that purchased wear edge part is then cut to make this uh, internally made part. It's trimmed down. So I've already went ahead and added that part as a manufactured item, calling this purchased item. So it will call the longer part to be cut. So that particular line has already been done. So uh, with that being said, I'm going to now click my Cadlink button, which has disappeared. So Cadlink standard bomb. So I was saying during the training yesterday that treat this screen in, like, I was saying two halves, but there's nearly three stages as such. So the first thing to remember is that you can change these colors, but for me, the green ones are brand new parts. Uh, and you'll see that all the other ones have already had their product group and part class pre-done. So if you hold down your control key, you can pick all the green ones, and you'll see this is road sweeper, road sweeper, road sweeper. So link box. So I'm gonna undo that. So I'm gonna go link box, and then under template, I think we use road sweeper for all of these anyway. But I'm just showing that depending on what you want to call them, you can do them in individual smaller groups or all of the groups. Whenever you come over here, right click and you'll get up the pink box, and that will show you the road sweeper. And all that's doing is, with a few clicks, you're populating these columns here. Saves a lot of time. Uh, Next thing then to do is to pick the top level assembly and go to operations. So we're going to say here that this is a welded, blasted, painted item, and we're going to load that. That allows us then to make all the related parts in here to an operation. Now, this is a small fabrication, so we're going to do fabrication weld and load it, and that allows us then to put those two small parts within that tree. Whenever I go to here, this is then back to the top level. So basically everything has to have a consumption point. This one here is also a dash 2, so it is a small assembly. Again, load that. That's the opposite side of it. So that's the first third of this table done in a way. The Just for your information, green is brand new, yellow is a difference. So it's saying there's a difference between Epicor and SolidWorks. So if we click here, you'll see here that currently CAD is calling it that, ERP is calling it that. So ERP currently has this as skid steer, whereas CAD has it as standard skid steer. It will highlight every single possible difference. At this moment in time, I'm always using the CAD description unless it makes absolute sense to use it the other way. Uh, you guys can have your system set that you can change the description going back the way, but at the moment that is not being done. The revision, again, there's a difference, but the difference here is that CAD has a B, but MRP doesn't. So, of course, we're leaving those with revisions. The quantities are obviously coming from the BOM. So, one thing obviously not pulling here is paint, which would be added in the ERP side. So I'm unticking to make these all non-stock items, and they're all manufactured parts, so they're all being pulled as assembly. And that's fine. If any of these parts were purchased, and coincidentally all new parts come in as purchased, so just need to be careful of that. So that's the first half of this done, and now we're into adding materials. So if we click the CAD data button and click the bottom one here, for example, you'll see here that this is 12mm mild steel. This is an older part, so I'm going to be saying that that's 12mm S275. So dash 12M will pull up the 12mm 275, double click. This is an opposite, and that's an assembly, so it won't have material. This one here is 80 by 80 flat. So again, 80 by 80 pulls in the flats. I would have thought so. Flat. Sorry, 80 by 10. Let's just double check that. 80 by 10. I was wondering what I was doing. Flat 80 by 10. Accept. This part here is a fabrication, so no parts, or should I say no material. 80 by 10 flat again. This part is 6mm. 275. This part is 6mm S27. This part is an assembly. This part is white, but you'll notice that there's no material. That's because it's been previously added with no material. So all manufactured parts need to have material, obviously. So we're going to go in here and we're going to go 5mm. 5mm. 100 by 6. 80 by 10. And this top one would be an assembly. Again, this wee window down here helps a little bit. So that's the materials all added, and you'll obviously see that they're now yellow. That's because that's a difference between the two systems. So the next thing then we need to do is put in the operations for manufacturing. So operations. So the bottom part here you'll see is plate part only. And when you've done that, you can put in the 10. This part here is, uh, I'm not so sure where these are cut on the saw or the metal worker. Uh, so I'm going to go with metal worker, shear. Now, weirdly enough, I don't have a shear only process. I've got shear drill press or shear press. So whenever I load that, I don't really want to have millions of options here. So if I load shear part press, I can just click the bottom one and delete it. It's so easy. The other thing to be aware of is that this is where you set your time. So if there was something here that you thought would take a lot longer than the standard 2 minute guesstimate, you can change it here at this stage. So this one here's oh, that one's already done, sorry. Up the top one flat. So this one here, I'm going to go load again and then pick the bottom one and delete it. So it's sort of, it's handy enough, but we can obviously add more. This part here would be plate part. This part is plate and press. This is an assembly. So this part here is plate only. And just be cautious here because sometimes this little preview window shows the part unfolded. But I think the most thing, if you're working here too, this little black arrow tells you what row you were on. Oh, I needed to click load first. Next part is plate part only. Next one is shear. So you'll see now that we have this is all the clicking done. Uh, you'll notice that the material unit quantity is 1. Uh, that is covered in the second video of this session. Uh, we don't have this pulling in the net weight at the moment. I would like it to going forward because that would help with, say, for example, galvanized estimations. So, uh, what I'm ready to click save now. So if I hit save, this will run through all of these. So just before I leave this screen, I'm going to go into settings. Now, where it says general settings, use ACO group, I've said here to put it into my initials. If, for example, you wanted to, on your screen, make a different ACO group, you create your ACO group and name it here. Uh, we were initially shown to use this dynamic group, which does make a lot of sense, but it's actually, in my opinion, harder to use. But I suggest you try it and make your own decision on whether you like doing that or not. I just found it creates far too many ECO groups, and you actually find that whenever you've done your work, you have to go back in and delete the ECO group. Otherwise, you haven't a clue where you are. But that's just my opinion. Uh, I'm just going to hit close there, so I'm not saving them. So anyway, I'm going to close this screen and you'll rejoin me later on when I go to the engineering workbench. But that is this assembly done.